Hogstye.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Hogsty. It is Alex, it is Steve, it is Dave. It was Combine weekend. A lot of guys running really fast. I was looking at the Combine numbers. I feel like you had more sub 4 guys this year than ever before. I don't know if that stats kept anywhere in the Combine, but there was a lot of guys in that 4.3,
I am
4.2
not
range.
going out to count that. I don't
No,
know.
no, no, no.
I don't
There
know.
were a
It's
good number of guys.
numbers. It's a graph. I mean, it's a chart you could put together. That's
No,
got that's
no,
got your name
no,
all over it.
no.
It,
I am not doing that. It does, Dave. You're not wrong, but no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, yeah, that's even too much for Steve.
Well, it's
Uh,
not that it's too much. I could figure that out in a couple hours, but I think that's far more pointless than many of
mhm.
the other charts I've done.
I just did a quick scan while we're
Now, here's
talking.
an idea. Tell me if
Hmm.
anybody out there likes this. How about the fastest players in Washington history? Obviously, Daryl Green's going to be number one, but I could go through and find the 40 times by every person for every
Hmm.
position. How about
Right.
that? Is that a good
That
column
I mean,
idea?
that would be
I think
a
that
fun,
would be interesting.
yeah, yeah, that could be a fun column. Now,
Yeah.
if you wanted to keep it simple, maybe the top five of that top five bench press, something like
Oh,
that.
I'm not talking about going ranking order every player in history. Yeah, I mean we'd have
Yeah,
to. Yeah, I don't know.
it's
I
an
don't know how
interesting
to.
idea. I don't know. Also, I don't know how well those records are kept for
It's not quite as
going back.
ridiculous as my idea of charting every single play of the entire year. Remember that, Alex?
That was your most ridiculous idea.
I remember. So
You
okay,
Wow.
you you were angry at PFF and said I could do this, and then I said no, Steve, don't
so
don't do
I
it.
called Al. I had this great idea, folks. I
Yep.
was gonna. I was. This is back in the Jay Gruden era, and
Yep.
I was going to deter. I was going to objectively analyze Jay Gruden's play calling trends on offense, and my idea
Hmm.
was to come up with categories and chart every single offensive play of the entire year,
Right.
and then feed it into an Excel spreadsheet. And I was like, Alex, doesn't this sound great? And you were like, what the heck are you talking about? And
It,
it became too ridiculous even for me.
it there's
If
1,500
I was a
plays a
full time
season.
reporter,
Yeah.
maybe, but no.
Yeah. There's
Right.
1,500 plays a season, Steve. That's a lot.
It would have been awesome data, though.
It data
See,
wise, yeah.
you would have been perfect to run a PFF type of site
Yeah,
because you actually would have used the data that actually mattered.
not just make up numbers.
Right. Yes.
I think
I
my crowning achievement in that regard is probably still either my injury analysis or my draft analysis
Oh yeah,
columns.
yeah.
Those
No, no.
both of those are
Those are your all time greats.
yeah,
By the way, there are 20 guys who ran a sub 440 or
20.
4.4. Yeah. Yeah, on the 40 yard. So
I have no
that's
idea if that's all. That sounds like a lot, but I don't
it.
know.
It feels like a lot. Remember breaking the four that sub 4.4 was like a big deal not long
Mm-hmm.
ago, like 5 years ago. It was like it happened every once in a while.
See, if you really want to go crazy in the data, what you do is you'd establish a mean speed by
Hmm.
decade
Right.
at each position, and then determine kind of like what I did for the stats, to even out all the stats by era,
Hmm.
and then you could say, okay, so this player was 22% above the mean for wide receivers in the 60s, and then
Right.
you could say on an even playing field, this person was the fastest player as adjusted. I could really go crazy with
Well,
this. If
and
somebody gives me a
that's why Daryl Green will be the fastest player because he ran what allegedly was a 4.18. Uh,
well, and not alleged. So Ricky Sanders told us that in
yes.
person on this show.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He ran a 4.18, and it was in the 1980s when guys were wearing,
Yeah,
giant,
right.
clunky uniforms, and so it didn't look fast. He didn't look at, and he probably was slowed down by all the heavier gear that
I
they
tell
wore
you
back
what,
then.
if somebody out
Oh,
there is
he
willing
looked
to pay
awfully
me,
fast running behind Dorsett and Dickerson.
Right, but I'm just saying, like Daryl's
Right.
shoulder pads were so wide that you had to turn sideways to go
Yeah.
through doors.
Oh,
And,
it's crazy. I mean, imagine what to do today. If someone is willing to pay me a living wage to do things like deep dives into data, I will do it.
Steve, I
But
think that's your retirement career if
yeah,
you
it
can
might
find
be.
it.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you finally hit that point where you're like, I'm done with all this nonsense, that's your
I'm
retirement
not
plan.
doing real estate battles anymore.
Right. Yeah. Tired of arguing with people. I get it. Well, actually, no, you'll still argue with people just about fun things.
Just about football. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so the combine happened. A lot of speed out there. Uh, from what I've read and heard people say, it sounds like very few guys shocked and like really jumped up the boards. Like Love and Sonny Styles a little bit, but they went basically from hey, these are top 10 guys to maybe they're top 5 guys.
Am I
Like
wrong in thinking Love ran something like a 4.36 or
I
4.37 or
can pull it up.
something?
Give me 1 sec. I will tell you
I
exact.
almost want to say it was a 4.37.
It was a four
Yeah,
three
that
Why?
sounds right.
six 4.36 for him.
And
Mike
Washington was like right behind him, I think. Or
no Mike Washington actually beat him 4.33.
okay.
You had
But I
three
think Love is pretty
backs.
heavy dude though in terms
Yeah.
of
Oh
weight.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love is
Well,
like
both him and
220
Washington, they're both pretty
or
big size,
210.
pretty big guys.
He's officially listed as 212. Love. Yeah, there were three guys in the 4.3s at running back. That's just insane. That is insane. And you're right. Mike Washington's actually bigger,
Yeah,
223.
no, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are some fast big dudes, man. And it becomes very tempting to be like, yeah, let's just draft one of those guys now. You
Well,
know?
look, I mean,
I was
from a
gonna make it
needs
tough.
perspective,
Hmm?
so I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah, I mean, I
That's
think we
fine.
were about to say the same thing. You know, I mean, yes, Washington's biggest need is no doubt edge rusher and then linebacker, and we all agree on that. But if some of these top guys are gone, I mean, they need a running back. They need a number
Yep.
one running back. They could use almost anything. I mean, the only players like they don't need a quarterback.
Right. They
You
need a wide
know,
receiver. I don't feel like you need one at 6. Am I weird for that? Or
well,
7?
I mean, they need a number two next to Terry McLaurin. Who
Yeah.
that is, another question. They don't need a left tackle. They don't need any tackles.
Right. They don't need guards.
And
They
the
Well, I'm
offensive
not
line.
in the top round one. I
yeah.
mean, they
Yeah.
need a center, but that's not a, you know,
Yeah, we'll get into
round
that
one
whole
thing. We'll get to
situation
that.
thing.
But other than that, I mean, in corners, they don't need a corner in round one. But
Right.
beyond that, everything else is like up, up
Yeah.
for grabs,
Well,
man.
and
Yeah.
that's the crazy thing. This draft for where they're picking, there's I count at least 6 guys who I'm a okay with right now. It's Love. You got Sonny Styles, that safety from Ohio State.
Caleb Downs,
Yeah, and then you've got
Bain,
multiple. Yeah, you've got 3 edge rushers that are, or well, really 2 edge rushers, because
Van and
but
Bailey.
yeah, and Reese won't be there, but he would also be on that list.
any of those guys would be, worthy picks.
Right,
Yep.
right. They're in a great spot where 1 or 2 of those guys will assuredly be there, maybe even 3, depending
And I
on
do think, and
what
I don't
happens.
have faith in their wide receiver core particularly. I mean, somebody in my last column, when I was grading Adam Peters, I don't know if you guys read it. Monday I published a column,
Hmm.
grading Adam Peters at heading into year three, and I went through the drafts and stuff, and I mentioned that in that column I thought Luke McCaffrey hasn't really shown
No, he
it
hasn't.
much so far, and a couple of people in the comment section disagreed with me. But I mean, I think he's trading off his name, and I'm not really wild about a wide receiver group featuring Ja'Cory Brooks, Jacoby Jones, Dalen Lane, Luke McCaffrey, Terry McLaurin, and Nick Nash. In other words, Terry McLaurin and a bunch of other dudes,
Right.
basically. So they could use, I mean, a
They could use
solid,
it.
Well,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I could see McCaffrey as obviously a special teams guy. He's definitely should have worked there. I mean, he's a number 4 receiver, could creep up to a number 3, but we'll get to it later. But I think this free agency will give them an opportunity to really get somebody young and opposite of Terry McLaurin that they need. So
Hmm. I
I
think
don't
so
think they
too.
need to use. I don't think they need to use a number 7 pick on a receiver. I think that's kind of unnecessary in my opinion.
I
If you
just
And a
there's
lot of
two
this is going to
guys.
depend on who they sign in free agency anyway.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Now, there's two guys who are kind of projected to be top 10 picks. I just don't particularly. Neither of them would excite me if that was their move. I mean,
Right.
obviously, Adam Peters is going to do what Adam Peters does. We can't
What
control
man
that.
does excite you, Alex?
I love love. I love love. I'm a hippie. Uh, uh, Now, the one thing we haven't talked about much on this show, but it's been out there obviously. Tim Gribble, the guy who's been the head of scouting for the last 5 years, and he's been with the team forever. He left just before the like end of or as the offseason was starting, which is kind of unexpected.
Is
That
that a great loss?
it's not, but I mean, obviously, look at the last 5 drafts. How have they done?
Right.
Um, but it's the timing that's unusual. Usually, those guys leave after the draft, not before.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe got a better offer. Maybe won the lottery. I mean, God
Yeah.
knows.
Maybe Adam Peters like my evaluation of you is done. Goodbye. you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, we didn't really talk much about that. So it was a Gribble-free combine for Washington, for the first time in like 20 years, because he'd been with the team for a long time before that under Snyder.
Tragedy strikes.
Yes, yes. No, no. Everyone loves a good Gribble. Just ask the King of the Hill fans.
Oh, or a good dribble.
Well, this isn't a basketball show, Steve.
I was thinking dribbling,
Oh, drooling.
saliva for,
Ah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't have a good joke for that one. Okay.
I could come in with a joke that'll get us in trouble.
Yes, yes. That's why I didn't want to get into that. Uh, so anyway, look, we could talk about the combine a little bit, but I don't think there's
I
been
think we
much
just did,
shift.
actually.
Yeah, we just did. Now, Dave, you did do your draft article about the offensive linemen in the combine.
Yeah.
Uh, I know, like we just said, they're not going to go heavy on the O line here. They might get a center. Maybe if you could just kind of give some ideas of centers in there or anyone in there that one or two things that might stick out to
Just,
you about
but
this
before
class.
Dave gets into it, I mean, the column, the series isn't about in the combine. It's about draft eligible players, some of who
Right.
Correct.
don't aren't in the
Sorry.
combine. Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
but go ahead, Dave.
Okay. So I just need about half hour, 40 minutes here. So,
All right.
but
We told Dave keep it under 5.
Some our listen, our fourth cast member is sitting on my foot. If Dave drones on for 30 minutes about offensive linemen, he's gonna weigh in.
Uh oh.
all
I,
right.
I
So
I was like, Steve, don't kick him. Don't do not.
so I mean, obviously, you can go to the site and read the entire column itself, so you'll see all the details for everybody. But there are three particular names that are later round picks that are college. They were college tackles, but they are projected to be more so guards when they come in.
Mhm.
My favorite of the three I'll start with is Trey Zune the third out of Texas A&M, 6'7", 315. He's got a very big frame. The biggest problem that he has is against athletic rushers because he doesn't have the same lateral sidestep and ability that you would want out of a tackle. But his frame and his approach with his hands and how he holds up in pass protection against a lot of Big 12 competition, which is pretty stout defenses in there. I think he's a guy that could plug right into a left guard type of position opposite Cosme. And I think that's a name to keep an eye on. He is projected to be where's my projections at right here? Did I leave that one off? I think I did. I think he's projected closer to around round, I recall top of my head, around fourth or fifth round pick right there.
Mm.
Actually, no, late third for him. My bad. And you also have Alex Harkey from Oregon, 6'6", 327. He's a guy with shorter arms. He doesn't mirror very, very well against athletic rushers, but he's a guy that has really, really good size, but he has a very good initial first violent punch, and he does very well in setting up and pass protection. He's very, very athletic, with a strong initial burst. So, I mean, he's kind of real ideal for that guard position as well. I think he's a guy that will translate best in that position there.
Mhm.
And then Tristan Lay out of Clemson, Tristan Lay out of Clemson, 6'6", 315. Again, he is his, sort of like Harkey, his He's got shorter arms. His interior movement or his lateral movement isn't as quick as you like it to be for a tackle, but he's very strong, accurate. I'm not accurate, agile, based enough for a guard. But what makes him kind of interesting to watch is that he could function as a swing tackle potentially too as well. He carries enough size and he has enough athleticism and enough power, initial power, to where he could work as that as well. So that's a little more versatility in him right there.
Mm.
And just real quick, I think the biggest riser in this draft is a Caden Proctor from Alabama, 6'7", 360. He's been rising up draft boards. He's a guy that man going the second tackle in this draft, probably in mid first round. But he's had a lot of conditioning issues, constantly out of shape, overweight.
At
I could see
360, he's
him.
overweight, Dave.
Yes, right.
That's
I
shocking.
could but see, it's a shame because he's very athletic. He's very strong. He's got great hand technique and really good lateral movement. But his conditioning, I think, is ultimately going to wind up putting him in that potential bust category for where I think he may end up getting drafted because he went from a third round. He's been flying up to, he's now projected a late round pick and could wind up being, or a late first round, could wind up even move up to mid first round. I think that might be a mistake. So, but other
Yeah.
than that, I mean, I can cut it off at that, and guys can go and read the column for the rest. And you guys going to have to add?
That was
Well,
published on this Wednesday, so check it out.
yeah, I will add, I've become a contrarian to myself where I am now all in on the if a guy's got short arms, you just got to move him to guard camp.
Right.
Like I used to make fun of that idea as like idiotic, but we've seen it fail too many times. Short arm guys at tackle.
Yeah, but true, but I don't know what short really means though. Is it really 34,
Apparently,
35 inches, or I mean, I
yes,
don't know.
apparently 32 is the line, right?
I've heard that. I've heard 34. I don't know
Right.
what Robbie Duncan would think. We probably ought to ask him.
Oh,
Yeah.
in this day and age of athletic rushers that we have, I'm pretty sure that especially today, there's probably a lot of value in that probably.
Oh
But
yeah. I think we all understand
I
how
don't.
there's
Yeah, I
value.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's value in it. I just don't know what is the real line.
Right.
yeah, right.
That
Right.
actually matters.
What is that magic
Is it
number?
that big? 1 inch that big of a deal?
Uh, I'm gonna leave
Don't,
that hanging.
Yeah,
I was being
I'll leave that
serious.
one alone. I'll leave that one
When it
alone.
comes to arm length for tackles, is 1 inch that big of a deal? That's all I'm saying. The dirty minds in the group here, just relax.
We're the majority, Steve. We're the majority.
I was
Yes,
being
we are.
serious.
We are 66% of us are thinking of that nature, my friend.
I mean, what Davis told me is that 1 inch doesn't matter at all.
That's what I'm told.
All right. Let's talk about something
uh,
else. Someone else who doesn't matter anymore. And that is Tyler Biotish, who unexpectedly the team cut this week in the
How
last
freaking
week.
dumb is that?
It's
Good God, is that
so
stupid?
so odd, so random. Uh, they haven't come out and said like why at all. The only things I can think of that would make logical sense because the salary cap thing doesn't make sense, right? He
No,
it
it does
saves
not.
it air quote saves $2 million or
It's
so.
2.8, I think.
Yeah, okay, almost 3 million, which is like
It's
the
chump change
NFL
that they
minimum.
don't need. Well,
Yeah,
they don't need either.
right.
You've
They
got a
don't
ton of
need it.
space.
The only thing I can think is either his injury is worse than that they think that injury is going to be bad and it'll nag or something, or they're just like he doesn't fit what we want to do in the future. I could see that.
and those two things are ones I've seen hinted on. I think John Keim touched on a little bit
Mm,
that the injury he wasn't exactly recovering back to where he was to form the year prior, and in the system that Blau wants to run is going to be a lot of what Ben Johnson type of style
mm-hmm,
offense, and
mm-hmm.
he's not going to fit that bill potentially in terms of for his movement and what he needs to be for that role. So from what I understand, from what little I've heard, I think this was more of a Blau decision than it was an Adam Peters. Because the one thing Dan Quinn did said he's going to allow his position coaches to have not complete autonomy, but a lot of say in what their personnel are going to be. So I wonder if it came from him And maybe Algretti. Maybe he sees Algretti as that guy that can move into center. I don't know.
I mean, I know. I mean, I don't profess to be an offensive line film expert at all, and I don't think
Right.
anyone here does. But I mean, I know those who claim to be experts all say that Biadasz' 25 film wasn't quite as good as 24.
Sure.
But I don't think Allegretti's anything special either. It's amazing to me that you would create a hole for no reason. I don't know why you had to do it now. I don't get it at all. I think it's one of Adam Peters' dumber moves. Even if you're going to cut him, you don't need the space. Why are you
Right.
doing it now? I don't get it. Let
If
him compete with Allegretti if you're gonna, you know.
if you have a plan A, it better be like you better have it already in place when you did this. And
Right.
like I said, they haven't really been asked about it. It seems like so that could be part of it too. Like at some point there will be a conversation where, hey Dan Quinn, why? And Dan Quinn can explain it.
He's
Hopefully,
this guy. He's not going to say anything though. It's best move for the team, and we might not ever know.
right? Well, you might get that. Well, we really think Alec Reddy is ready to move to center or something along those lines.
I'm
You
gonna
know,
bet that we don't hear anything.
I don't think we will anytime soon. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah.
I just don't understand why you'd create a hole when you don't have
no,
an obvious
I don't
solution.
I don't either.
And now the team did extend Algrady a year this
Right.
week. Speaking of that, and so he had his contract is up in 26, meaning at the end of this year he had two void years. Now he has one void year because
Right.
27 is now a part of the contract. And I have his number. It's a really small number. Um,
The
so if,
other thing is, of course, we still don't know about Paul. The you know if he'll be extended or if he'll be a free agent.
is that Chris Paul, the basketball player, or
That
Chris Paul,
yes,
the
that's what I meant. Yes, Chris Paul, the
okay?
basketball player.
And so Algrady's year in 27 is 1.178 million, so very
Mhm.
small.
Yeah, yeah, that is backup money.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
practically veterans minimum
Right,
kind of money.
right. So I don't know. Maybe they're going after one of the free agents because there are good free agent centers. But it was classic. It happens to us once every year. I feel like Steve, we post a position group, a free agent thing, and then like the day after it's up, uh, oh, we have like a major roster move. It happens every
Listen, it
offseason at
happened.
least
We've
once.
had that on shows countless times. Yeah.
Yep, yep, exactly.
Well, you can go back to his college times in Illinois. He did play some games. He started a total of 5 at center, and at a handful of the games he had to move down from guard into center. So he definitely has
He's
the
done
position.
both.
Even
Are you
yeah,
talking about
even
Allegretti?
yeah, and even through scouting wise, he was kind of projected to be a starting guard, but with the potential of even moving into center if need be. So I mean,
I'm not
at
saying he's
least there's
never played
something
it. I'm
there. I
just
don't know.
saying he was the
No, yeah.
backup. I don't. I don't get it. I don't know why you would. Why it was so important to do that now. You could always wait till you get somebody signed. Again, let them compete and cut them later. I mean, you don't even need the roster space right now. Just
Mhm.
very odd.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, we'll never know. But there also could have been a conversation where he said, "Hey, I don't think I'm part of your future. Let me go."
Maybe. Or
Those
that
It's
maybe
conversations
he
possible.
happen.
like dumped Josh Harris's daughter or something. Who knows?
Yeah, don't know. I don't know her
I'm being
dating
facetious
history.
about
Yes,
that, but I mean, nor do I know if he even has a daughter. But I mean,
he
there.
does.
My
He
point
has a
is, in
lot of
all
kids, I
seriousness,
think. Yeah,
does he? Maybe there's something off the record nobody knows about, and who knows?
yeah. But the common thing seems to be injury slash scheme fit. That seems to be the
Yeah,
public perception. Um, Speaking of guys who no longer fit the scheme, it's a shocking move. Steve, you had the vapors when it happened. They cut Marshawn Lattimore.
I'm stunned.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
one,
I'm
certain, cer
I'm actually starting a petition to reverse that decision through the NFL. That's
Mm,
just
absolutely. We're gonna
ridiculous.
post it. We'll post it on the site and advocate for
Yeah.
it. Certainly one of Washington's best moves. I mean, I think it's the move that Adam Peters is going to put on his gravestone at some
right.
point. When he's gone, I'm the man who traded for Marshawn Lattimore, a future Hall of Famer. Um, a massive hole in Washington's defensive backfield has now been created unnecessarily. Or alternatively, it was freaking dumb to trade for him in the first place, and he
Right.
was one of the worst trades in franchise history, and he's
Um,
gone not 1 second too soon. One of those two things is true.
Uh, I would argue this might be one of the worst trades in recent Washington memory. Uh, I'm saying trade, not just
That's what I said.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think the McNabb trade. That's got to be worse, right?
Well, you'd have to go RG3 ultimately too. They traded a couple first round
Draft
picks
picks
for him.
for
Yeah,
for, uh, but that's also draft and
draft. Yeah,
yeah.
of
There's a little.
yeah.
players. Yeah, it's up there in terms of player
What about
trades.
T.J. Duckett? Remember that trade? A third round pick for T.J. Duckett.
That's not half as bad as this.
It's pretty bad.
They
It's
also
about
pay. He had an $18.5 million cap hit
That's
this
true.
year.
They did pay him money,
Yeah,
and T.J. Duckett
Oh,
just nothing.
right.
I mean, the only thing that I like to add with context with that though is that when at the time the trade went down, they were one of like four teams that were trying to actually trade for him. Kansas City was another. I forget the other teams that were. There were teams in the market for him, even though he had that hamstring issue. There were teams that were willing to take it to roll the dice for him for the playoff run down the stretch. Because prior to that injury, he was one of the best corners in the league, especially in completion percentage against turnovers and so forth.
Right.
He rolled the dice for a playoff run and in hopes that he was able to build something if he got healthy. Because if he did return to form and he was healthy, it would have been a great move, obviously. And but I see what he tried to do. I saw what was that plan kind of going forward in hopes that would become with Lattimore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, till that injury, he was one of the best corners in the league, period. You can't argue that. That's the truth. The hamstring, he just never recovered from. And then this past year, you just saw the continued slide, unfortunately. He just never got back to form at all. So I think, I think sometimes as fans, we tend to play. Now, I'm not saying you're doing this, Steve, because you didn't agree with the trade when it happened. But I think that there are fans that are playing a little hindsight in this too as well, making their decision saying it was the worst trade ever. Because you know me, when the trade would happen, I had no problem with it because I saw what was the potential there to be in place if he recovered 100%. So I'm not going to shame him for that because I saw what he was trying to do. I had no problem with him swinging for the
Listen, it
fence for
didn't
that.
work.
It didn't work.
Period.
You're
He
right.
gets blamed
Absolutely.
for it.
Yeah. You're right. No, absolutely he does. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. They
yep.
did re-sign Dietrich Wise, a minor re-signing there, but look, they need to add
Well,
whatever.
yeah. Okay. So, and they also signed Shy Tuttle,
Right.
who was a, you know, mid-season pickup last year, and then they signed Andrew Wiley.
Yep. We talked
Uh,
about that last week,
oh
but
yeah, we
yes.
did. Yeah, I don't have
Yeah.
any numbers for any of these people, but I did take. It's not published or anything, but I did take Lattimore out, and with Lattimore out and not having the numbers for Dietrich Wise or Andrew Wiley, they're at about 89 million in cap space. So take out 7 or 8 million maybe between the two of them at most. So they're probably just north of 80 in cap space, and so that would take them down to 68, 69 million
Hmm.
in terms of remaining space if you count the rookie salary pool or the
Can we
Quite a
rookie
also
bit of
draft pick
money.
salary
Yeah.
pool.
can I also just say I appreciate that we have a 300-pound guy named Shy Tuttle on this roster. That's just it's a perfect name for a mammoth human being, Shy Tuttle. you know, you know.
It may be
Uh,
one of those things. It's not his real name,
it's
but
not.
that's what. Yeah,
It's a nickname.
yeah.
His real name is Shyhem. I double checked that.
Ah, okay. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yes. Uh,
The more you know,
the more you know. But Shyhem, he doesn't want you to know it. You know why? Because
because
he's
he's
shy.
shy. Yeah.
Ah, there it is.
Yes. That we as long as he's on the roster, we can occasionally make a Shy Tuttle joke. Um,
We have to have
so
somebody. I mean, we'll
yeah,
always have Colson Yankoff. So I
right.
mean, we can always
Yes.
default to that.
Well, now you don't want them to combine and have a Shy Yankoff. That would be very awkward.
Yeah, I mean, the Shy Yankoff connection could be dangerous.
Absolutely, 1 inch at a time.
We're going down a dark rabbit hole here.
Yeah, it's all right. All right, let me bring us back. Let me bring us back. Uh, let's get out of dark rabbit holes. Let's talk about this lawsuit that DC and the Commanders settled finally. I believe this was they had 3 or 4 lawsuits from the Dan Snyder era, and this was the last of them that they had to settle with the city. Uh, $1.1 million settlement, so fairly small in the terms of what these things end up being.
Yeah, it's pretty okay, so look, first of all, the purchase price had a contingency
Right.
amount in it um that was based on how many of these settlements Josh Harris's group had to pay. And
Right.
so that's it was basically they took it out of the purchase price more or less. So this is a dumb lawsuit, frankly. This
Right.
is the District of Columbia sued the Washington Seawards um, under a consumer. We talked about this at the time under
Yeah. Yeah.
consumer protect DC consumer protection law um, statute
Oh.
that basically
Yeah.
said that um, a business operating in the district. This is a quote. Every business operating in the district has an obligation to provide honest information to customers. And so they're basically alleging that under DC's consumer protection laws, the team misled residents by various, bad acts. And so this is a settlement of that because nobody wants to
Right.
try a ridiculous case like
Right.
that.
Specifically, it's about the sexual misconduct
Yes,
stuff, and which even I'm like, well, that's a stretch for a lawsuit. The stuff about like ticket sales and misleading
they got rid
or
of all those. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but like that at least I can understand why the city would have gotten a lawsuit involved there. But this was this is what I like to think of as the we just need you to go Dan
What
lawsuits.
they're saying is that ownership colluded to deceive fans. This is what the
Right.
allegation was. The ownership colluded to deceive fans by lying about an inquiry into sexual misconduct and a persistently hostile work environment. And like I said, it's a ridiculous lawsuit.
Right.
And it's one that should have been settled. I don't know why it wasn't settled before now,
It should
but
have been settled honestly faster than the ones about like ticket prices and things like that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
were semi legitimate.
Right. You and I probably disagree on those a little bit, but at least there's a spectrum of like reality there. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So this is
But
a much ado about nothing,
no,
and it's chump change for a NFL team
Right.
too. So
but it's that remaining twist of the knife of Dan Snyder really
yes,
just yeah, what a piece of garbage. Uh, but hey, you know what about that piece of garbage? He will be able to watch his former team now next season as Washington is going to go play in Dan's new home of London, England. They got announced as one of the teams going to play a London game. Uh, I can't. Did they announce who they're playing? I can't. I didn't look that up.
I didn't
Jacksonville, I want to
see if
say.
they did. Was it
Mm,
Jacksonville?
Actually, no, I don't think Jacksonville's on the schedule.
We're not
No,
sure.
no, no.
They're
Yeah, I'm
No,
playing
not.
I'm not.
somebody in London,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I
I
question whether
can.
Dan actually lives in London or if he's still floating around a boat in the Mediterranean somewhere.
But what's the odds we have a Dan Snyder sighting at the game?
Zero. There's no
Right.
way he's going to show his face at the game like that.
They have not announced who. You're right. It just is that they will have a home London game. That's all we know. Um, yeah. It wouldn't it be funny if Dan Snyder tried to show his face? That would just be
I mean, he could buy a ticket like anybody else, but he's not going to do that. So he's not.
right.
And
He's not going to be
yeah, but
there.
you know what the ultimate troll would be though? If he went to the game, he showed up in all Redskins gear.
He's the
That
one that changed the name.
I
right.
know,
But
but then he lost it. He still lost a team afterwards. So if I was in his shoes, that's exactly what I would do. I'd paint my face burgundy and gold. I'd be Redskins out, everything.
I think Dan is probably too embarrassed, even by his
Probably.
own massive ego standards, of what happened to show his face in public again. There's a reason he's living in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea or wherever the heck he is, and it's not
Right.
because he just loves Europe. I mean, he
yeah,
got so desperate, he donated his house in Maryland to charity.
Yeah.
Didn't even wait to sell it. So no, I
Yeah.
think there's a 0.0% chance that Dan Snyder shows up at that London game.
Didn't Snyder own a soccer team at one point? Did he get kicked out of that too?
I think he tried to buy one. I don't think
Oh,
he
Yeah,
he
I
actually
think.
bought
tried to
one.
buy.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think he ever did.
Yeah.
He what he got. There's so many things that failed. I mean, he partnered with Tom Cruise
Right on
on a movie
Valkyrie. I
venture
remember
and
that.
made
Yep.
Valkyrie, but there was a couple supposed to be a couple other things that fell apart. He
Yep.
killed Johnny Rockets.
Mhm.
There was I think a hostile takeover of Six Flags because he was so terrible.
Yep.
It
Mm-hmm.
went on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, we all. Yeah, I think we all know the glorious history of Dan Snyder's business acumen.
You brought it up, man.
I know. I just couldn't remember if he owned a soccer team or if he failed to buy a soccer team.
I think he
Uh,
tried and failed. I think Dave's right. That's what
yeah.
I remember.
That sounds very Snyder-esque.
Tried and
Yeah.
failed. Yeah,
Yes. It'll go on his gravestone. I tried. I failed.
I'm
Again.
short.
Yes. The lollipop kicked my ass.
All right, let's move on to something
Let's
more
move on to
interesting.
non-short people. Dave.
Yes.
Uh,
Dave is a short person.
well, but he's going to talk about some less short people, and that is
It's
free
just
agent
funny you
wide
said let's move
receivers.
on to non-short people, and you
I
said
know what I
Dave.
did. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Be cool.
At the
Dave,
risk
yeah.
of pointing out the obvious.
Oh, yes. Dave, you also wrote up or are working on the free agent wide receivers, right?
Yes. Yes.
Is it running backs too or wide receivers?
Running backs
It's
and wide
both. We
receivers.
had to
It's
Oh,
both.
double up a couple weeks, and this is one of the
yeah.
double up
Let's get
weeks.
into it then, because like that, we got a 20-ish minutes. That's perfect for two people for groups.
Yes.
So give
So
it to us.
I don't think I need to go in details of how unexplosive our offense was, how inefficient our offense was at the skill position player last year. And
They needed extra inches and they didn't have it.
no, you were absolutely right about that.
We need
Now,
to end
granted,
this theme immediately.
Any
now,
given Sunday.
and of course, I mean, when you look at the team itself, I mean, what they averaged 4.7 yards per rush,
Hmm.
ranked fifth, but I think that's a bit deceiving because you had the quarterback and
Yeah,
Mariota
yeah,
a little bit of Jaden Downs that helped that number out a bit, and then a few big runs they had.
yeah.
For the most part, this run game was very lethargic. It was very, very uninspiring.
Yep.
So going into this free agency, I mean, obviously Brees Hall is not on this list. He was the guy that I wanted the most, and the New York Jets had to franchise tag him and continue ruining his career, unfortunately.
As they do
So,
for
but
every career.
yes, they do. So who leads the list right now would be Kenneth Walker III. Obviously, we know his playoff run, his Super Bowl performance of 27 carries for 135 yards.
Yep.
Regular season, he averaged 4.6 yards a carry, 5 touchdowns. Although he's not a great receiver in the backfield, he did manage some receptions for 282 yards. He's not a huge speed guy, but he has great initial burst and does reach his top end speed pretty quick, and he's got a
He's
lot of
physical.
power.
Yeah, he's very
Yes.
physical. I think
So
I really liked. Obviously, his run in the playoffs was impressive.
yes.
Yeah. But
So
and he kind of always works well in a tandem. So it's not a bad option, even without
no,
Hall.
right. Especially if you re-sign. Well, they got them re-signed or extended in Jeremy McNichols to a year. I think he's a nice compliment to someone like that
Hmm. Yeah.
with Merrick kind of coming in on certain roles. Really would hope that they bring Chris Rodriguez back. I haven't heard any hints on that yet. So, um, and his average annual salary is projected to be about 9 million, but I think he'll wind up getting in double digits most likely, especially after the Super Bowl MVP that he had.
Hmm.
So, any thoughts on that, Steve?
I'd rather them draft Jeremiah Love. I'm kind of coming around on
Yeah.
that.
Steve's team
It's
love.
listen.
I mean, the guy's got it
I'm
all
with you on that.
physically, and yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
Sonny Styles is off the board and one of them edge rushers are off the
That's fine,
board,
kind of what I'm saying, and I think they will be.
yeah,
And yeah,
Hmm.
there's some great, yeah, Kenneth Walker. Okay, I mean, but a guy, I'm always leery of running backs, even young running backs, just because they get beat up so fast. And these guys going
yeah,
into a second contracts,
Hmm.
and especially I know Brees Hall's off the board, but like, you know, he gets beat up in New York. He's going to come in Washington and last what 1 or 2 years. And Kenneth Walker, same thing. Who was the other guy you mentioned? Read the other
I
two
haven't got
names.
to the second one yet, but the
Okay,
next
I
one would
thought you
be
had
Travis
another name.
Etienne.
Yeah,
Oh,
Travis Etienne. I mean, same thing. How many years that guy been around? And so I tend to think that drafting a running back that can be a solid number one is maybe a better choice than signing someone.
right. Well, I
I
mean,
mean, I get
if you
that.
wanted to look at a running back on this list that doesn't have a lot of mileage on him, his first couple years he started off relatively slow for Tampa Bay, but his last couple years he started picking up a little more. But with Bucky Irvin out there and so forth, it's his role has been a bit diminished. Would be Rashad White, 27 years old. He was a good dual threat last year. He had 500. I mean, granted he didn't have a lot of yards because he wasn't the featured guy, and
Mm-hmm.
he used 4.3 yards a carry. But he did haul in 40 receptions of his 45 targets for 218 yards. And his average annual salary is projected to be pretty low at 3 million. I mean, that's a guy you could maybe take a shot at.
I mean,
Uh,
maybe, but
I've
averaging
never been,
4.3 yards per carry.
yeah, I've never been a huge Rashad White guy. Now there are some fans that are. To me, to be honest with you, I mean Rashad White just kind of screams to me another Jeremy McNichols. To be honest with you,
The name doesn't stick out to me immediately as this is the
you're right.
solution to Washington's running game problems. And I've always said, to me, 4.5 yards a carry is the magic number. And I don't mean
Yeah.
like, some days some of the running backs Washington had last year had big averages because they had one 80-yard run. I'm
Hmm.
talking about
Yeah.
a guy who can consistently get almost 5 yards a carry on almost every play.
Yeah.
That's to me, that's a franchise workhorse running back.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he really screams that.
No. And
No.
out of this list, since Brees Hall's gone, I had to go. To me, I would probably lean on Travis Etienne Jr. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of mileage either, and he's definitely a true dual threat guy. And he's a guy that if you have on the side, with Chris Rodriguez or Jeremy McNichols, whatever, I think you have a nice combination right there. But I
I
do
mean,
agree
he's
with you,
got
Steve. If you have a guy like Jeremiah Love sitting there and the other guys are gone, it's very hard not to make that move on them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And my draft analysis showed that running backs at the top of the draft tend to do pretty well.
yeah,
Um, ATN's got 897 carries in 4 seasons. 220 carries, 267, 150, 260. So he's had some. I mean, it's not an insignificant amount of carries. It's
right.
not huge, but it's a lot.
So
It is, and here's the thing: that their priority, in all likelihood, is going to be they're looking for a guy who they trust be a good pass catcher.
yeah,
So I think that's a good
But I
reason
don't
to
think they
bang.
should. I don't think they should prioritize that. They need to have a running back who can take command of the field and be a franchise running back. Yeah,
I mean,
find somebody who can catch a ball. Yeah, granted, but I think that ought to be first and foremost.
right.
and
And
we
I'm not
know
saying
one
you're
name
wrong.
for that.
Yep.
So
Well, I think there's actually two good running backs in this draft. I think that is the one thing we kind of learned from the combine is that
yeah,
Washington will also be, and uh, Homer bias aside of just having a guy playing in Washington named Washington, uh, it's the perfect jersey for everyone to
He would
buy.
he would be the second one.
Oh, there've been a couple over the years, haven't there?
The other running back in the '80s,
Yeah,
Washington. What was his
yeah, yeah,
name?
yeah. Oh, second running back like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was also thinking of Marcus Washington, the
Oh yeah,
linebacker.
I was
Yeah,
thinking just running
yeah,
backs. Let's see,
yeah, yeah.
Washington.
Anyway, uh,
Joe
yeah,
Washington.
yeah.
okay,
That's what I was thinking of.
There are a couple good running backs. I suspect if they're starting to like we are look at Love, they'll still sign somebody. It's just not gonna. They'll probably go for somebody to be a rotational guy.
right.
Maybe White's that guy because, like you said, he that's kind of been his role for a while.
I mean, I agree with Dave in that if you got to sign one of them, Brees Hall would have been it,
Hmm.
but Travis Etienne would probably be my second choice. I think.
Yeah, and
I
he's slated for a relatively. A good cap number, a 6.8 million average annual salary from Spotrac. So I think it's not terrible to do that either. So
I
yeah,
I
mean,
could
on the other
also
hand,
see Keith Gainwell or Kenneth Gainwell, who he had a really good year as a receiving running back last year,
he's been a touchdown
486
machine for the
yards.
Steelers. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm actually surprised the Steelers are even letting him get the free agency. To be honest with you, but
I mean they're in rebuild mode, so maybe that's why.
so
But that could be more of a hey, we're just bringing him in to be a role player and add depth kind of
I mean,
move.
yeah, I mean he's most carries he had last year, 114 carries in a season. So he's
Right.
not what I would call a solid number one back. I don't care about his receiving. They need to have the number one running back and come in there and take pressure off of Jaden Daniels and keep Jaden Daniels from running so much.
right.
That's what I think the goal would be. Because
Well,
I just think the more at a macro level, the more you let Jane Daniels run, he proved he's susceptible to injury, which is what we all were worried about coming out of
Hmm.
college. And they just can't let him run wild like that, and they need a
yeah,
running game.
right. Well, speaking of taking pressure off of him, I think this next category of wide receivers, this is where they need to attack because there are plenty of good players out there available. Leading the way is Alec Pearson. Now, granted, I mean he had a breakout year last year. He was kind of back and forth his first few years with the Colts. And he had a total of 47 receptions, just over 1,000 yards, 21.3 yards per reception. So he is an explosive receiver. He can get down. He can get over the top real quick. The only thing that scares me about him is the fact that he had a breakout year, only just didn't even get 50 receptions, and his average annual salary is 20 million by Spotrac. I like the kid. I've seen him. I've obviously seen him play, but I'm not so sure you want to invest 20 million in a guy whose breakout year was 50 receptions.
Well, I mean, the reason for that I think is that his yards per reception, he's been over 20 yards of reception for the past 2 seasons.
Yes, that's true.
That's
But
why.
I mean,
Deep ball
so
101 right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
right.
And
Uh,
he's a
Well,
big dude, 6'3",
hmm
which they could use a guy with some size.
right.
there's been obviously they're trying to franchise tag him. He doesn't sound too happy about it in Indianapolis. I think there was an interview today or yesterday where he was talking about how he wants to test the free agent market.
Get me the
So
heck out of Indianapolis, in other
yeah,
words.
yeah.
Yeah.
If I was stuck in Indianapolis, I would be acting that way too. Nothing against the Colts,
Says the
mostly
East
just
Coast snob.
yeah.
Nothing's
Well,
wrong with Indianapolis.
have you ever
Nice
been there?
middle of
It's
the
very
Yes,
boring
I've
and
been there.
flat. It's just
Unlike you, Alex, I'm not an East Coast snob, and I have spent my time in Middle America, which is a fine place to live. Thank you very much.
I've been to many parts of Middle America that are great. None of them are in Indianapolis. uh,
uh,
Denver, Middle America, fantastic city. San Antonio, Middle America, great. You know, Indianapolis, flat, boring, no good food. They're most famous for shrimp cocktail, and they're nowhere near the coastline.
right.
You're not going to entice me or turn me off based on food.
I know that. I know that. All right, let's keep going though.
All right. So one of my favorite names is Wandell Robinson. He's 25 years old. He's a high volume catcher, and he added a little more of a vertical game
Hmm.
to his repertoire last year. There were many times I've seen Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson miss him on deep routes, so he could definitely get behind the corners in this league. And it's a guy who can play slot, he can play on the outside, and he can play a little bit of that gadget receiver that you wanted in Debo Samuels, and he's only 25 years old.
And it would
So
be
I mean,
taking him
this
from a division rival on top of that.
Yes. So this is definitely one of my favorite names on this list. I think would be, and for average annual salary of 17.7 million, I don't think that's a bad salary to get with someone like that.
And everybody needs to understand something. The value that you're getting those from Spotrac values,
Yes,
right?
correct.
That's
Yes.
average annual value, which is the total value of the contract divided by the number of years. They use that as kind of a baseline. Agents
Yeah.
use that. That is not cap hit, okay? So the
Right.
cap hit will be lower than that. Odds are in year one. So just everybody take
Right.
that as a basic, as a kind of a baseline, but don't take that as what it will be
Right.
charged
They
that he will
always
charge the team.
backload those contracts. So like if you
Yes.
gave him a 3-year deal, it's probably going to be like 10 million his first year, probably close to that 17 his second year, and then it explodes in year 3, and that's when you
Yes.
Yeah.
renegotiate it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's football contracts 101. Like,
Even Alex understands that much.
yes, yeah, uh, yeah. I love Robinson. I think that the age thing plays into it. I think it's a good value compared to Pierce, who wants to test the market and might get a lot more than what they're projecting.
hmm
Um, I think Robinson will be a bit more under the radar, and if you're saying this is our number two, I like that.
Well, also, I mean, he's got more of a proven track record of performance. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
93 and 92 receptions in the past 2 years,
Right.
more than 1,000 yards this past year on a terrible Giants team.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where he was literally really the only weapon there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
So, um,
Yeah.
now
I like him a lot.
the one name on here that I also like a lot, and I would love to see Adam Peters go after in a heartbeat would be Rashid Shaheed.
Mm-hmm.
They're nowhere near the contract terms or agreement that Seattle and them are trying to pursue. And here's a guy that was buried on a terrible, terrible Saints roster for a couple years. As soon as he got out to Seattle, you saw what he was worth. I mean, and for the vertical game, for the special teams and kick returns, 786 total combined yards on the special teams with 2 return touchdowns, and you saw what he did in the playoffs. And I mean, the guy is a field changer. The
Mm-hmm.
guy is a guy where safeties roll over to his side to protect everything going up over top. He is a guy that opens up the intermediate part of the field for that tight end, for that dump off with running backs, and even for Terry McLaurin to do what he does best with his shorter intermediate routes that he takes that he gets for run after the catch. This is a
Mm-hmm.
guy of all these receivers. If it's not Wandale Robinson, he is number two on my list on guys to go after because of the versatility of what he brings. And his
I
average
mean,
annual salary is projected at 14.1 million.
I mean, he only had 59 receptions last year for less than 700 yards.
Yes.
I, I'm, I mean, I've become more about proven indicators of performance. I get your point,
True.
and he doesn't have that. Now, I mean, I could be wrong, and I get your point, and I respect your point, but to me, Wandale Robinson has the proven track record.
Sure.
Right, which is why he's number one on my list on
Yeah,
guys to go for. But
right.
Rashid Shaheed, I mean, you look at what he had in New Orleans. Already talked about that. Then he goes to a team that already has Jackson Smith and Jigba. They already had Kendall Walker and Charbonnet, or Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet as their 1-2 punch at running back. I mean, there wasn't a lot of targets going his way. There wasn't a lot of opportunities going his way. But every time he had the opportunity, he flourished almost every single time he had it. So, and you put him in a situation opposite of Terry McLaurin. If you get like a Jeremiah Love with the Jaden Daniels, I think that opens him up to have a much better, more prominent role in this offense. So, but
All right, we'll see.
okay.
Next
Now,
one.
of course, you have some names on here if you want to go with the veterans like Mike Evans, but clearly he's
Who's like
past
a
his
hundred?
prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keenan Allen, 34 years old, same
No.
story.
Right.
Um,
They would just be
now,
one
no,
year band aids.
yeah, right. Now, another name on here that you could see that would be an interesting would be Romeo Dobbs from the Green Bay Packers. Uh, Last year he had 55 receptions for 724 yards. I can't remember how many games he missed due to injury last year. I want to say 4 games he missed last year. So I mean he's kind
I
of
can
a
look it
his,
up. He
He
played
played
13
in.
games
He had
or
15 starts last year.
15 starts. Yeah,
15 starts.
sorry, I was looking at the wrong
Okay,
year.
so it's only a couple games he missed then. Um, I mean, he's kind of a guy where it's like on that day 2, day 3, if he's still available in free agency when all the bigger names are gone. I mean, it's a name to keep an eye on. As long as his average annual salary is listed at 12 million. I mean, I'm not super enamored by his name. He's got a lot of potential, a lot of upside, but he's had that for so many years, hasn't really exceeded that either. So, but
Well, the thing is, he's a consistent guy. It's
he
not a
is
1 year
consistent,
thing.
yes.
Like, if you're playing kind of what you're saying, Steve, with proven performance, he's not a 1,000 yard guy, but reliably 600 ish yards the last three
Yep.
years.
Yeah.
Like
Somewhere between in 50, 42, 59, 46, and 55
right,
receptions in
right.
each year of his career.
Those are what
Right.
I call consistent number two numbers. Like, they, yeah, you would love to have two receivers of over 1,000 yards, but most teams, their number two, that's kind of what they're pulling down. Uh,
Right.
so he's consistent in that respect. If you can't,
So,
if you don't land a Wendell Robinson, those are the guys you kind of want to look for.
Right.
right.
Yeah, they'd be an upgrade for
So,
sure.
but and a couple honorable mentions. You got Tyreek Hill, which is a big no for me.
No.
Hard pass.
Debo Samuel's not going to happen, of course, but still put him on there as honorable mention. Christian Kirk constantly hurt, a lot of speed, a lot of upside,
Yeah.
but can't stay healthy.
No.
Jalen Naylor is kind of an interesting guy, big body receiver, nice red zone guy, but doesn't really have the track record of work either.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Dortch is a guy that kind of started coming out of coming out of nowhere last year. Started playing really well. I mean, he's kind of a interesting receiver. They go after him, and then you have Kendrick Bourne, who's just more of a reliable possessions type of receiver. So
Yeah.
I mean, of those, I think Tyreek Hill is the guy who has learned his lesson. I think he's changed his life for the better. An outstanding person
Right.
and citizen that can really contribute
Absolutely.
to the moral center of the team. And I certainly wouldn't hesitate to bring him into the team because he's just an outstanding person.
Hear me out on this, Steve. Hear me out.
Okay.
Hill, Stephon Diggs.
Oh, there's an
Tag
unbeatable team right
both of them.
there.
Get them both. They're both available now.
20 million
Most,
each.
yeah.
Got the cap space.
Let's
Yeah.
see if we can get Ray Rice to come out of retirement while we're at it.
And Antonio Brown. Can we
Yeah,
also
him
get?
too.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's just get all the crazies all in one, all the scumbag crazies all in one place.
I'm shocked there's not some sleazy owner who hasn't tried that move.
Jerry Jones practically has.
I mean, he did back in the day at various
Yeah,
points, yeah.
right.
But like the hey, you're not good enough for anybody else. I will pay you dirt cheap. You get to keep playing, and like you could build a squad of monsters.
In all seriousness, Tyreek Hill's a total sleazeball scumbag, and
Right.
get the
Right.
heck out. If
Well, I
anybody
mean-
thinks I'm being serious,
His
Diggs is not
career
a
is
good
done
person
after that
either, it
injury
looks
anyway.
like.
He's
Yeah.
never going to get that speed back again.
Oh
No.
no.
even
Yeah.
if he did, I want no part of a guy like that.
No, of course not.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of good receivers available here. Not a ton, but what is that? 6 or 7 who would at least be capable number twos coming out in this free agent class that we mentioned there.
Yeah,
Well,
Like-
you could definitely go a long way to fix this receiving core in this free agency draft.
Right.
So
And I don't think it'll happen. If Debo was like brought in as well as somebody else, I wouldn't be mad about it. I just don't want it to just be, hey, we're bringing back Debo.
yeah, right.
Like if Debo's now you're a true number 3, okay, I can live with that.
they need to do better than that. There's going to be a fan revolt.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. You need to say, hey, we're bringing back Debo, but here's also Robinson or
Right.
some, yeah. Then no
But
one's mad.
I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Peters throws a bag at Alec Pearso. To be honest with you, because you got the size and
Mhm.
I
Young
mean
dude.
Yep.
the young dude,
Yeah.
yards per catch, be a red zone threat, whole nine
Yep.
yards.
Which
Do you
they
guys
need.
think they'll take a flyer on Ayuk, given the injury stuff that's
He's a
out there?
train
Absolutely
wreck.
not.
He's
No
a
way.
train wreck, man.
Yeah,
Don't know.
He's
I
not even
assume not.
rumored to be traded to Washington.
Yeah.
So
He's a train wreck as a person too. We don't want that.
Well, and they're
yeah,
saying that his knee injury is actually really bad because he didn't like
The
OT
guy
correctly.
asked the Players Association not to advocate for him so he could talk the 49ers into cutting him, basically backdooring his way out of the city. No. No,
Right.
no, no, no,
yeah.
no.
Right. I generally agree. Oh, there was one name. I don't think. Did you mention Juan Jennings?
No, he is on my list. I did not mention him being 29
Okay.
years old. Yeah, and his cap number is so high projected for this year.
Mm,
I mean,
that's
he's a
fair.
touchdown machine. He's definitely that. But
Yeah, especially the last few years.
yeah,
But and again, not a big yardage guy like Steve wants. Steve wants another 1,000 guy.
I just want proven performance.
I get it, and I'm not even gonna say that's wrong. But you're more focused on yardage than touchdown machine performance, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
yeah. All right. I think we covered everything major.
Yeah,
There
I think
was
we're
an
out of time.
update to the coaching staff on their website. It's not anyone new name wise. It's just that they've officially kind of finalized the
Yeah.
coaching staff.
yeah.
Uh, so if you want to go to the team's website and look at that, go ahead. You know, it's fine. There's no surprises. You know who the coaches are.
And we're out of time, so we don't have
Yeah.
time to go into it.
Yeah, we're out of time. All right, we will talk to everybody in a week. Have fun, everyone. Later.
Later.